Daniel Blake wiped the sweat off his forehead as he tightened the last bolt under the massive conference room table. His hands, rough and scarred from years of labor, trembled slightly, not from exhaustion, but from the anxiety that had been gnawing at him all morning. He wasn't supposed to be here, not in this luxurious downtown skyscraper, with its marble floors and glass walls that shimmered like power itself. He was just a maintenance man hired by an outsourced cleaning company, but fate had brought him right into the heart of the empire he once helped build. And then it happened. "Why is our company's logo on your toolbox?" The voice cut through the silent air like a blade. Daniel froze. He looked up from where he knelt, and there she was, Catherine Langford, the CEO of Langford Industries, standing in her pristine white suit, eyes sharp as steel, staring straight at the faded blue toolbox that bore the company's embossed logo. The same logo Daniel himself had designed 10 years ago, before everything fell apart. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the strength of good people who never give up, please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us keep telling stories that touch hearts. Daniel's mind spiraled back to another lifetime, when he used to wear a crisp shirt and tie instead of a maintenance uniform. Back then, he wasn't just any employee. He was the youngest mechanical engineer at Langford Industries, full of ideas and dreams. He had designed new prototypes, fixed problems others couldn't, and even led a small team. His name had once appeared on the company's innovation board, but then came the fire. It was a late winter night when the explosion in the testing lab nearly destroyed everything. Daniel had been working late, like he always did, when a faulty circuit sparked a blaze. He had rushed to save a colleague trapped inside, pulling her out just in time, but in doing so, he suffered second-degree burns on his arms and hands. The company thanked him publicly, but quietly, they blamed him for the safety breach. An investigation followed. Someone had to take the fall, and Daniel, burned, broken, exhausted, was an easy target. He was terminated. And just like that, the man who once built dreams for others was left building broken things for himself. The months that followed were darker than any night he'd ever known. His wife, Emma, couldn't take the stress, the financial ruin, or the endless legal fights. She left, leaving him with their 5-year-old daughter, Lily. Daniel didn't blame her. He was barely holding on himself, but Lily was his light. Every morning, when she woke up with her hair messy and her smile crooked, she gave him a reason to fight another day. He took whatever jobs he could: plumbing, repairing, cleaning, anything that could put food on the table. He repaired old tools and built his own toolbox out of the scraps left from his engineering days. And on its lid, he kept one thing untouched: the metal plate with the Langford Industries logo, the only reminder of the man he once was. Now, that forgotten emblem had brought him face to face with the past he'd buried. Catherine Langford took a few steps closer, her heels echoing sharply against the marble. She was younger than Daniel remembered, perhaps in her early 40s now, confident, commanding, the kind of woman who had built her empire from iron discipline. Her eyes narrowed on the worn-out logo as she said again, slower this time, "Why does a janitor have our company's emblem on his toolbox?" Daniel swallowed hard, his throat dry. He wanted to explain, to tell her that he had once been one of them, that he helped design some of the machines still running in their factories today. But years of humiliation had taught him one thing: sometimes it's easier to stay silent than to reopen wounds no one cares to understand. So he said quietly, "It's from an old project. I kept it." Something in his tone made her pause. She studied his face, his tired eyes, the faint burn scars peeking from under his sleeve. Her brow furrowed. "What's your name?" Daniel Blake. The moment his name left his lips, her eyes widened slightly, as if a long-lost puzzle piece had clicked into place. "Blake?" she repeated. "You used to work here." He nodded. "A long time ago." A silence filled the room, thick and heavy. Catherine glanced toward the conference room window, where the city stretched out in gleaming towers. "I remember the fire," she said slowly. "I remember your name in the report." Her gaze softened just a little. "You saved someone's life." Daniel shook his head. "I lost everything else." The janitorial supervisor called him then, breaking the tension. "Blake, we need you downstairs." Daniel gave a polite nod, picked up his toolbox, and walked away before she could say anything more. But Catherine couldn't shake what she'd just seen. That afternoon, she had her assistant pull up Daniel Blake's file. The record was short terminated after the fire. No rehire eligibility, no severance. The notes claimed negligence in safety protocols, but as she scrolled further, she found something odd. The safety report had been edited by her late father, the company's founder, the same man who had always been more concerned with image than truth. Her chest tightened. Could they have blamed an innocent man? The thought haunted her for days. Meanwhile, Daniel continued his quiet routine. Every morning before sunrise, he'd pack Lily's lunch, braid her hair, and walk her to the bus stop. She always kissed his cheek and said, "Love you, Daddy. Don't work too hard." Those moments were his anchor. After she left, he'd head to work with his toolbox, the same one that now felt like both a curse and a blessing. One evening, as he was fixing a broken light panel in the executive corridor, he noticed Catherine walking by. He quickly lowered his head, not wanting to draw attention, but she stopped beside him. "Daniel," she said softly. He looked up, startled. "I read the reports," she continued. "All of them. I know what really happened that night." He froze. He didn't know what to say. "You were blamed for something you didn't do," she said. "My father covered it up to protect the company. I'm sorry." Her voice cracked just slightly. "You saved a life and paid for it with your own." For a moment, Daniel couldn't breathe. Years of silent struggle came rushing back. Every insult, every sleepless night, every moment he'd wished someone would just believe him. And now, after all these years, someone finally did. Catherine didn't stop there. She asked him to meet her the next morning in her office. Daniel was hesitant, unsure if this was pity or punishment. But he went. When he walked into the boardroom the next day, the same place he'd once presented his blueprints, he felt a strange ache in his chest. Catherine stood by the window, holding a folder. "I did some digging," she said. "You designed our prototype for the hydraulic assembly unit, the one we still use today. I also found the patent submission with your signature. My father never filed it under your name." She looked at him, eyes filled with both guilt and admiration. "You deserve to be recognized, Daniel, and I want to make it right." He stared at her, unable to speak. Catherine continued, "I want you back not as a janitor, as a senior engineer. You belong here." The words hung in the air like sunlight breaking through clouds after a long storm. Daniel's heart raced. He thought of Lily, of all the nights he'd spent fixing broken things in the dark, whispering to himself that someday it would all make sense. And now, maybe it finally did. He accepted the offer quietly, his voice trembling with gratitude. Months passed. Daniel's return to Langford Industries became an unspoken story of redemption. He didn't boast or seek sympathy. He worked hard, just as he always had. Slowly, people began to realize that the quiet man with the scarred hands was the same engineer who had once shaped the company's future. One day, at the company's annual awards ceremony, Catherine called him on stage. The crowd erupted in applause as she told his story, not of failure, but of courage, resilience, and integrity. "Sometimes," she said, "the greatest heroes are the ones who keep building, even after the world tears them down." Daniel stood there, holding the plaque with trembling hands, blinking back tears. The applause grew louder, echoing through the hall. In the front row, little Lily clapped the hardest, her smile beaming with pride. After the ceremony, Daniel knelt beside her and whispered, "We did it, sweetheart." She hugged him tight and said, "I always knew you could, Daddy." And in that moment, all the pain, all the years of silence and struggle, melted into something beautiful, hope reborn. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe for more stories that remind us to never give up on ourselves or others. Before you go, tell us in the comments, do you believe everyone deserves a second chance? As the lights of the city glowed outside his office window that night, Daniel sat quietly, his old blue toolbox beside him, its logo now shining under the soft lamplight. He ran his fingers over the engraved metal and smiled. It no longer reminded him of what he lost. It reminded him of how far he'd come. And somewhere deep inside, he knew the man who once fixed broken machines had finally fixed his own broken life.